Okay, I have started the recording, so gotta watch what you say. So let's see, I want to figure out here. Give me just a second here. Okay, doke, let's get started. And I want to welcome everybody again. Good to see you all. We have lots of things to talk about today. So I'm just going to jump into it. I don't know if Sandeep is going to be here today. But first of all, I want to welcome a couple of new people to the meeting today. Will, you want to introduce yourself real quickly?
Yeah, my name is Will Novak. I am the Government and Community Affairs Manager for Google Fiber here in Arizona. I met Cindy and Aaron and probably other people that are on this call at the Net Inclusion Conference, and they were the ones that kind of directed me to come here and join you guys and figure out what's going on. My role is kind of twofold. One is working with the cities and towns in initially Maricopa County, but hopefully eventually the entire state, on working out right-of-way license agreements and such to get Google Fiber to come to your city. And then also running our philanthropic side, our community side. You know, we view sort of our good to do in the world as stuff around digital inclusion, STEM, things like that. So I'm just trying to kind of learn who's doing what, what's where, and get a hold of things and get connected and plugged in as we can.
Great. Well, thanks, Will. Glad you joined us. And
look
forward to
someone through my link. You put my LinkedIn on there already. Wow, look at that.
That was me, Guy. Yeah.
My LinkedIn says that I'm an expert in maritime law and that I speak Klingon. So it's very official.
Do follow up and put your email in there too, though. I know it'll be in the sign-on document eventually, but some people might want that.
Very easy. Yep. There you go.
Okay, moving on. Is there anybody else new? I don't think so. I think everybody else has been here before. So, but just a reminder that, excuse me, that after this meeting, for those who are interested, can stay on for Kibitzing with Colleagues, which, as you may know, is just an informal gathering. We stopped the recording, and anybody who has anything to share, to have any questions or comments, has the opportunity to do that. So, moving on. Nicole, is Nicole on yet? Didn't see her. Okay, well, hopefully she's supposed to be here today, so I'm going to wait for her to get started. So, a quick announcement. I got an email today from Robert with Chicanos por la Causa that they have been approved for $750,000 for the FCC Affordable Connectivity Outreach Grant Program. He wasn't sure exactly what they were approved for yet, and he couldn't be here today. So hopefully next week we can get a better briefing on exactly what's going on. Anybody know if anybody else in the state has been approved?
Yeah, Steve.
I work with Robert.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say hi. I actually work with Robert. I'm also part of CPLC, so we are super excited that we got the ACP grant and are just waiting for the comments to come back to see what adjustments were made, so that way we can start a business plan and start empowering lives in the community with ACP. So we're super excited, and Ilana was actually the one to let us know.
Great. And apologize, Lupe. I knew that you were
no worries.
You were with them, and so I should have said, "Hey, Lupe." but nonetheless, that's very exciting that you guys got that grant. And actually, I have several things to chat with you guys about regarding that grant, but we'll get to that later.
And then I know City of Phoenix Community and Economic Development did as well. and so did a group called Promise Arizona.
They all three got grants?
Yeah, it's
Yes,
very
and there was also a tribal grant given.
Cool. Okay, so we need to find out who all those folks are and get an update from them. Okay, so moving on, that I'm going to just jump into our presentation today. I want to welcome Katie McGowan, who's the Senior Manager of Economic Development with Local First Arizona. And many of you may recall, she's been attended our meetings in the past and shared information about Local First. But I did want to invite her today to give us another update about what the Economic Recovery Center is, what the services they provide, because it's particularly important, and I've said this before, is that as we move ahead with doing our digital inclusion planning, that many organizations who are interested in getting funding are going to have to put together a plan. They're going to need to define who their target audience is, what areas they're focusing on, what kinds of services they want to provide, how much money are they going to need, and so forth. And so the Economic Recovery Center has resources to help with that planning. So with that, Katie, I'm going to stop. Do you need to share?
I do, if you don't mind.
So I will stop sharing.
And Steve, while Katie is sharing, I went ahead and put the public notice, the list of grants in the chat.
Oh, good. Thank you.
All right, let's see. Can you all see the presentation?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Well, first of all, thank you, Steve, for that introduction, and thank you for inviting me back. I am very excited to be back with you guys today and share with you a little bit more information about our program and what we've been up to and what we're doing moving forward. So to start off, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about why the center became what it is and the purpose behind it. So those of you on the call may be familiar with Local First Arizona. That is the organization that I work for. And the department that I am in charge of is called the Economic Recovery Center. And while Local First has been around for 20 years, the Recovery Center is just finishing up our second year in operation. And I tell you all of this to share with you a little bit of information about why we are doing what it is that we're doing. So back in May of 2021, when we were all still in the height of COVID and everything was coming down the pike in terms of PPP loans and EIDL loans and all of those types of things for-profit businesses, we weren't seeing a lot of additional assistance with grants. And so our wonderful leader, Kimber Lanning, went out and pitched the idea for the Recovery Center to several statewide organizations to get their buy-in and get some funding to run the center. And what we did in the very beginning was we went out and talked to people all over the state and just asked them, you know, what are your challenges? What is it that is preventing you from getting access to the grant funding that you would like to get? And these were the top 3 things that came back. People were overextended, which I'm sure comes as no surprise to all of you. A lot of times with very small nonprofits, people are being asked to do more and more and wear more and more hats with fewer and fewer staff. Going right along with that are budget constraints. Every year we're being asked to do more and more with less and less money. And then while it's been so wonderful that a lot of grant opportunities have come down from the federal government, with more grant opportunities comes more competition. And so organizations were finding it very difficult to figure out where they fit in with all of those funding opportunities and what was best for them. So after going out and having these conversations, we took that information back and tried to figure out, okay, what can we do? How can we best fill these gaps and provide our organizations in Arizona with a leg up on all of this grant funding? So the first thing that we did was we set up our website, which is right here in the light blue. It's economicrecoveryaz.com. And we started out with a newsletter. We still do this newsletter in addition to all of our other services. But what we did was we started on a weekly basis going in and seeing what all of the new grant funding opportunities are that would apply to our organizations in Arizona. We take all of those opportunities on a federal, state, local, and foundation level, and we pile them into a newsletter and we send that out every Monday. We also have all of those listed on our website as well. So the first way that you can get access to our services would be to sign up for this newsletter so that you can see all of the funding that you are interested in, organized by category, specifically for you. And then after that, we developed some additional services that I will go through in the next few slides. But the most important thing I want to mention first is that all of these services are provided at no charge. So nothing that we're going to talk, or everything that we're going to talk about today, will not cost an organization anything. So what does that look like? So we have our support areas, as we call them, organized into pre and post grant application. So the first way that we can help is by making sure that an organization is grant ready. Sometimes we have people come to us who know that they need funding, but they aren't sure exactly how to go about it. If that is the case, we can help make sure that people are signed up on SAM, have DUNS numbers, all of those things that they might need to have in place before they are able to submit a grant application. The second way that we can jump in and help is with grant research. And this is what we spend a lot of our time doing. When an organization comes to us with a need, we talk through their history with grant funding. Have they ever applied for anything before? Have they won anything in the past? And what is it that they need that funding for specifically? Once we do that, my team and I will take that information back and we conduct research. We look at federal, state, local, and foundation grant opportunities, and we pull together a curated list of everything that that organization would qualify for, whether or not it's even open at this time. We have a master list that we've created of all of the grants that we typically see, which most, as you probably know, are on an annual cycle. So even if you come to us in March and the perfect grant for you doesn't open until July, we'll still send that over to you so that you have a full picture of everything that you qualify for. After that, we can bring in a grant writer to assist you with the grant application. We have 30 different grant writers on our roster. They all have different areas of expertise when it comes to the types of grants they like to write and the types of content that they like to write about. So depending on whatever the opportunity is, we will pick the person who has the most appropriate experience, make that introduction, and then they help you and hold your hand through the whole process of getting everything written and submitted. After the grant application has been submitted and a decision has come down, which hopefully is a winning decision, but even if it isn't, we can still provide some additional services as well. So for example, a lot of times we will help maybe a very small nonprofit win their first federal grant, and they're so excited, but then a month in, they call me and they're like, Katie, we don't know what we're doing. We don't know how to execute on this. And so in cases like that, we have another list of contractors that we can deploy to assist with all the kind of ancillary things that an organization might need, from grant management to grant reporting, specifically the financial reporting, because that tends to be the most complicated, stressful part. We also have facilitators who can help convene a group together. If, for example, a group of nonprofits has come together to apply for a grant, they've won it, but now they need a little bit help getting organized and figuring out who's going to do what and how they're going to execute on everything. We have people who can assist with that. Like I said, facilitators, strategic planners, project managers, all of the above. We are here really to assist an organization from the very beginning to the very end of not only the grant application process, but executing on all of the deliverables that they might need to do. The reason behind this is we really, from the very beginning of the Recovery Center, are working to work ourselves out of a job. We're working to build the capacity of these organizations so that they can continue to apply for larger grants and execute on larger grants, and they no longer need our help anymore. So these are the people who qualify for our services. These are the types of organizations that we work with. We work with nonprofits, municipalities or county governments, and tribal organizations. They have to be located either in rural Arizona or in an underserved part of a more metropolitan city like Phoenix or Tucson, for example. If an organization falls into one of those buckets and they do not have a grant writer on staff, they do not have a development team on staff, then they qualify to work with us, and everything that we provide is at no cost. If an organization is unsure whether or not they qualify, we still say, come to us, we'll figure it out, and we will help you as much as we can. If an organization ends up having a grant writer and we can't provide all of our support, we can still help them find the right grants that would fit their organization. Or if they're located in Phoenix or something like that, for example, we can still connect them with a grant writer. They would just have to pay for those services out of their budget. So no matter what is going on, we tell people, come to us and we'll figure out how we can help you. I kind of went through all of these things already, but as I mentioned, you qualify if you don't have a grant writer on staff and you are in rural or an underserved part of the state. This is a sheet that has a lot of information on it, but basically breaks down everything we've been able to accomplish so far. So since May of 2021, we have worked with just under 600 organizations. We have won 114 grants, which totals just over $31 million. One of our major goals for 2022 was to make sure that we helped win at least one grant in every county. And we were able to do that, and we will continue to focus on that moving into 2023, or the rest of 2023, I should say, as well. And so it gives you a little bit more of a breakdown by county in terms of the number of organizations we've assisted and grants that have been won, in addition to the total dollar amount that we've been able to secure for organizations in those counties. And one thing I want to make sure that I mention, because this question comes up a lot, is that all of the funding goes directly to the organization. We do not take any cut of it whatsoever. We exist to help organizations further what it is that they are already doing. These are the sponsors that I mentioned at the very beginning of the presentation. These are the groups that provide the funding to the Recovery Center so that we are able to operate the way that we do and provide our services at no cost. So we want to make sure that we acknowledge them here and say thank you to them for all of their wonderful support. Here again is the link to our website. And on this website, you can find a place where you can register for the newsletter. You can find a place where you can set up an appointment to meet with myself and my team to discuss your organization's specific grant funding needs. And then we also have all of our grants that we have compiled onto the website, organized by category, organized by type. So you're able to go in and see a bunch of grant information there as well. And then here is my contact information, and I can pop it into the chat as well. And I can also send Steve this presentation to share out. But you've got my email there and my phone number. And I know that that was a lot of information to kind of throw at everybody. So I can go ahead and stop sharing and answer any questions that anyone might have.
Hi, Katie, it's Sharika.
Hi, Sharika.
No camera on, but it's been a while. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So it's been a minute since we talked. So should I schedule a re-evaluation or re-conversation with you?
Yes, I would say you can either do that, or you can shoot me an email since we've talked before and just say, hey, here are the areas that I'm looking for additional funding in. Either way, I'd be more than happy to do some more research for you to see what we can find.
Okay, thank you.
And that brings up something else that I should mention, that The way that our budget is for 2023 is that we are able to support up to 4 applications per organization this calendar year. So our services are not one and done, but they are also not unlimited either. And so we just want to make sure that we mention that so that people keep that in mind. And yes, I will post my information here very quickly.
Okay, other questions or comments for Katie? So a couple of quick things. Last week I talked to Nicole and I have not been able to reach Sandy yet. But we discussed being able to do perhaps some workshops, webinars or something with Katie and with others to pick up with more detail about what does digital inclusion planning look like for an organization? How would they go about it? What kinds of support is available, such as the resources that Katie discussed. So we'll be looking further into that opportunity and see what, but that's why I invited Katie today, because we are going to be rapidly moving towards, hopefully rapidly moving towards our digital inclusion planning, and our organizations really need to be prepared to submit their requests. Okay, any other questions or comments for Katie? I'm going to, Katie, I'm going to promote you in every one of our newsletters for the next few months anyway, about the center and resources and a link to your webpage and all that kind of good stuff, because it's a pretty critical time right now.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And I did post my info in the chat. So if anybody thinks of anything later today or at any point in time, please don't hesitate to reach out, and we would be more than happy to talk with you and see how we can help.
Great. Thanks again, Katie, for being here again. And by the way, congratulations, Katie just got married not too long ago. So congratulations on your marriage.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I support Katie and Local First Arizona. One thing about those grants, they could be from the federal government and be in the millions of dollars, or they could be a few $1,000s for a local community project. So it covers the gamut that's out there.
Yes, thank you, Andy. Yes. And what I should have mentioned is those 4 applications we can assist with can be any combination. They can be for federal, for foundation. They can all be for $20 million each or for $5 each. That does not matter to us. So whatever makes the most sense for your organization, we are happy to support that.
Great. And by the way, while Andy was commenting, that Andy has become a big supporter of Katie's. It's a big fan. And actually it was thanks to him that reminded me to reconnect with Katie. So Andy sends announcements that he thinks are important, and try to include those in our newsletter. So Andy, I appreciate your help with that also.
Sure thing.
One more
Katie
quick
and I have
question.
a relationship.
One more quick question. When you guys asked that question, it made me think about this. Does it have to be program-based grants, or can it be unrestricted or capacity building grant writing as well?
Yes, it can. All of the above.
Okay, thanks.
So Katie, if I can impose upon you for just another minute, can you just talk briefly about when you presented to Andy? Well, I think there was somebody else who also presented about the collaboration that you've been supporting up in the north there. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I will do my best. That is a different team at Local First. So I'm not actually directly involved in that work, but I will tell you everything I know. Local First Arizona has won a grant to work on a project called the Northern Arizona Good Jobs Network. And what that is a 4-year grant where our workforce development team is going into these areas and building out some teams and processes and improving the the workforce and job access in our northern Arizona counties. Kate Stewart is our staff member who is in charge of that. And I can put her information here in the chat as well. I unfortunately don't have much more information on it than that, but I can direct you to the person who does have all the information.
That was a pretty impressive presentation she did about that effort.
Hi, this is Joy Whiting. I was wondering if you could tell me what northern Arizona county that in. Is that in Coconino County?
I believe it is Coconino, Apache. I don't want to misspeak, but it is a few of the counties in northern Arizona.
Okay, thank you. I'll reach out
With the
to,
northern tier counties, Apache, Navajo, Coconino.
Yes.
I'm going west. I'm trying to think of the county. Mojave.
Yes.
thank you. Thank you, Andy. That's a big deal. Thank you so much.
So Joy, that falls right into your bailiwick, isn't it?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much. That's why I love connecting with everybody on this meeting. I appreciate it.
Sure. Okay. Anything else for Katie? Thank you again, Katie. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen for a minute.
Steve, before you
Yeah.
move on really quick,
Yeah,
just
sure,
want to
Rika.
say I met with Mr. Brian Carter, Dr. Brian Carter, and I am going down there on the 24th to see the lab. So I know we were all chatting about it last week on who's going to U of A to see the lab. I've already scheduled my appointment. If anybody else wants to tap onto that, the 24th Friday, I'm taking off work and I'm going down there.
I might have to take off and meet you there. I haven't been over to his lab, so I think that'll be a cool thing to do. Okay.
Yep, thanks.
All righty. So going back to sharing my screen. Okay, so as you all know that the last couple of meetings we've talked about AZBSN collaborating with Access, that thanks to excuse me, thanks to meetings with Marcus and Lyle Ashita, that we have begun a discussion on how we can collaborate with Access that has to do a campaign to re-sign up people who have been on Access and have not had to do that for the last couple of years. And so we are in the process of having that discussion. And to follow up on that, next week, we have 3 people who are going to be presenting that can be very important to this collaboration. The first is Dawn Jones. And I don't know, Dawn Jones is with the Division of Benefits and Medical Eligibility at DES. And they are working on an ACP initiative and have put together an ACP presentation that they want to share with us next week. So Dawn is primarily going to be the presenter for that, for what DES is doing. In addition to that, although I don't know, April, if you're on the call today, but April Jones, who is a DES Community Engagement Liaison, has been participating in this task force pretty regularly. And she was actually the one who recommended that we connect with Dawn and that we pursue how we can best collaborate with the ACP initiative that they're going to be launching. In addition to that, thanks to Mauricio, I contacted Alan Jersvig. Is that right, Mauricio?
Oh, Thursday? Okay.
And Jocelyn, is that correct?
Yes.
And so, and Jocelyn is also here with DES. And so he is a consultant with the Children's Action Alliance. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jocelyn. And he is working on their outreach initiative, Unwinding Access, Continuous Coverage and Enrollment, regarding the Access continuous enrollment ending on April the 1st. And so he is I had a great conversation with him. He is very connected with a lot of different organizations here in the state, healthcare organizations, youth organizations, and so forth. So the three of them are going to present to us next week about what their plans are, what they're doing, and for us to continue to explore how we can best collaborate with all these healthcare and access organizations. So it's pretty exciting because this collaboration could dramatically increase here and needs to happen fairly quickly with enrollment ending April the 1st. So, and follow up to that, I mentioned before that I have talked with Mauricio and Aaron, and they are going to help facilitate this collaboration. So, excuse me. So I don't know, Aaron, I know, Aaron, you're already jumping on that. Mauricio, are you on the call today? I thought I saw you earlier.
He had to
He said
leave.
he had to jump.
Okay. So, so Aaron and Mauricio and I are going to get together and talk more about how this could happen. But this could be a great partnership with Children's Action Alliance, with other community organizations, with DES and the FCC. And part of the discussion is that, in addition, when Lyle participated with us, he was saying that he was interested in doing not just one event, but doing multiple events. And so this fits very well with what his interests are. And in addition to that, as I was talking with Alan, and of course, others may have a comment about this, but there are actually navigators in many of the communities out there. So we were talking about, can we use those navigators and use Lyle to train the navigators in those communities to do exactly what we've been interested in all along. So this provides us a great opportunity for outreach. And Janet, I know you're online, or you were, and I know you've got a lot of connections out in those communities, and of course the libraries. Aaron, do you want to say anything about a lot of the work that you've already started with this?
Sure, just really brief recap. So we started by reaching out to all the libraries in the state and getting their specific needs around languages for the ACP promo materials that Lyle was so kind to offer to print and mail directly to the libraries for us. So that part has happened, and we are now working on whether or not the materials that Lyle can print can be edited to include local navigator contact information. So that would be the Connect Arizona navigators through the state library, and potentially also other navigators who are still deciding whether or not they're able to be listed in that way. So that part is a little TBD yet. The next step in the process will be for us to provide the list of addresses to Lyle so that he can get the materials sent out. I'm waiting to figure out a little workaround for some of our locations that only have PO boxes for their mailing, as the stuff is going to come through, shipping services. They need to have physical addresses as opposed to PO boxes. And so what I'm thinking about doing for those locations that just can't necessarily be there to accept a delivery because they're not open every day of the week or whatnot, we'll figure out another way to get those materials to them directly. Still hoping to get all of that information back to Lyle with the information that he's giving us about whether or not he can change the printing before it happens to include that contact information by the end of this month. So we'll still be on target to do the education piece through the libraries by spring is the loose timeline that we had kind of talked about. So that's where we are right now, just waiting for a couple of those little bits to fall into place, and then we'll move on to the next steps.
Great, thanks, Aaron. As always, the library does such great stuff. Any questions for Aaron? Going once, going twice. So I will try to get together with Mauricio and Aaron and map out the next steps. We want to have another meeting with Lyle and And then we'll continue the discussion with DES. Andy, do you want to say anything about DES at this point?
Not that I could think of. I know Schwarzman, the director's office at debating, are working to get information out regarding ACP. And I've gotten information out to all of our community action agencies, and I know they're posting that information in their newsletters and with the clients that they may still be seeing in person. So we are still trying to get the word out.
Great, thanks, Andy. Okay, so moving on. Let's see, I don't know, has Nicole joined us or not? Okay, so moving on. As you may know, that we've been talking for a while about the importance of cybersecurity and needing to address that issue. So Mala and I chatted today, and I have started working on a draft, and I want to make them emphasize this, and I'll share it with you, a draft web page of what this might look like. But thanks to Mala's help, that one of the things we came up with, and Mala, I even added a bullet point for you, was supporting that we think the team will focus on several areas. One is supporting the E-rate, cybersecurity for schools and libraries. And let me come back to that, Mala, and you can talk some more about that in a second. Secondly, is that we want to focus on securing networks. Third is securing devices. Fourth is securing people. And last of all is to provide input into the BEAD and digital inclusion planning. So I'm going to share with you, Mala, you want to take just a minute and talk about the E-rate for schools and libraries?
Yes, sure. The FCC had put out a note for us to comment on, and that the first comment period ended February 13th, and we have a reply comments period that's ending March 30th. And there have been a lot of comments that they have received, mainly on the importance of including those in the eligible services list so that E-rate can support the payment of for those firewalls and for cybersecurity in general, mainly network security. It's not securing the devices, it's securing the networks that people are accessing, the school network and the library network, to get the information that they need. The comments were requested on whether you need extra money for it, not grant money, extra E-rate funding for it, or what kind of firewalls should be covered, etc. And FFL, that is the Funds for Learning, did a survey last year where they actually came up with a kind of rough estimate that they would need about $60 million per year added to the current Category 2. Category 2 budgets are budgets to help improve the cybersecurity, help network equipment within the library or schools. I won't go into further details, but we'll take it up with the cybersecurity group, because I know time is of essence, and I want Steve to talk about all the other bullet points as well.
Okay, any questions for Mala before we move on? So I'm going to share this draft page with you, hopefully. And again, this is still very much in the works, so so just keep that in mind. So what I tried to do was to just outline that we're going to be developing, and Mala and I had discussion about should we include digital inclusion, should it be just broadband? And so we're going to be working through that issue. So for now, I'm calling a broadband, digital inclusion, cybersecurity alliance, and strategy team. That's up for discussion. I don't want to get into it today, but that's what we're kind of looking at as a possibility. So I started to put together this page, as I mentioned, that we talked about these issues, the E-rate, securing networks, securing devices, securing people, and providing input into BEAD and digital inclusion planning. Put a little bit of information about cybersecurity and about broadband and digital inclusion security issues. And that our strategy may include things like increasing digital literacy, cybersecurity programs, providing access to cybersecurity tools and resources, and developing policies and regulations to protect against cyber threats. Target groups might be new affordable connectivity program signups, low-income, disadvantaged, and marginalized people, or people that have little or no experience with technology, school districts, libraries, small businesses, and ISPs. Who should participate? Educational institutions, K-12 universities, community colleges, libraries, state and local government agencies, nonprofit organizations, cybersecurity organizations, small business organizations, community action organizations, and healthcare organizations. And I'm sure there's a lot more that we would want to include. And then this was, I'm not going to go over this because it's a bit outdated, but this was an outline from a number of years ago. I created a cybersecurity alliance, and this list is from there. Some of it's relevant, some of it's not, so I'm going to be updating that. But anyway, that's kind of where we are, what we're working on. Mal and I have talked about possibilities of a couple of folks who might be able to lead this effort, and anybody who wants to participate is welcome to be engaged in this process. So that's what we're thinking at this point. Any questions or comments? No? I'll find it out there.
So are you going to send that out to the task force, Steve, about what the summary of all that?
Yes, Henry. After I update that, and Mal and I are going to have a couple of conversations before I do that. But yes, it will go out to the task force. Okay. Okay, so a couple of quick things coming up before we get into our updates. On the 14th, Consumer Affairs and Outreach Division, a monthly call will be on, and Elena, who is a regular participant with this task force, is going to do an overview of the ACP pilot and awareness and enrollment initiative. Elena, do you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, so the FCC has a monthly call, and obviously they're very focused on ACP right now. So since we had done the pilot and got really good results, we learned a lot of things, and they're interested in some of those lessons learned, which I did a blog about, and we talked about it, net inclusion, on one of the panels a little bit. But yeah, so they asked if I could do the community call tomorrow. So I said I would be happy to.
So you're welcome to join that call. And also, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, that I also did put a link in the last email announcement about this meeting, about her presentation, if you're interested. So next thing, moving on March the 16th. Actually, Michelle, are you still online? Apparently not. So this Thursday, there will be a Pima County Workforce Summit. Be a number of organizations. I think they're expecting like 300 or 400 people to participate, and it's focused on Pima County and looking at workforce resources and strategies, excuse me, for the county. As a part of that, there is going to be a panel talking about the digital divide. And I know Michelle is on that panel. So any other comments about that event? You're all welcome to attend. I've put the link, I believe, on how to be able to attend. It is free, actually, and you're welcome to attend. It's a long day event from 8:30, I believe, until 5. And then after that, the Arizona Technology Council is having a mixer This will all be at the University of Arizona Science and Tech Park. So again, you're all invited and encouraged to attend that event. And then Sharika, you want to just do a reminder quickly about your STEM fair?
Yes. Just please share to use to get them registered. We are probably at about 80 something registered right now. I know we're still almost a month out, so it's going to be a while, but just if you hear of anybody that's going to be in town on April 22nd in the Phoenix metropolitan area and they want to have fun and listen to some music and eat some barbecue and learn about STEM, send them my way. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Sharika.
Or anybody that's looking to sponsor events. We're taking sponsors too. Thanks.
Okay, as you all know, Sharika does great stuff and certainly be great to support her. Okay, so let's go on to our updates. Mala, do you have anything else regarding the libraries that you want to report? Any rate?
Really nothing much this week. I'm still working on getting all of our applications in. Our deadline for getting E-rate applications this year's applications is March 28th. So working hard to make sure that all our libraries apply on time.
Okay, is that it?
Mhm. Thank you.
Okay, so Janet Major, if you're still on, you and Mala, do you have anything else you want to report on the telehealth and libraries project?
Janet has stepped off.
Okay.
Okay, I will mention about our new pilot project that I'm working on with Janet and with NAU and U of A. We're planning to do, and again, it's very much in its infancy. We have an LSTA grant as well as an NIH grant to work with the Navajo Nation as well as with the Tohono O'odham tribes on detecting, scanning livers to detect liver cancer. And there has been a study done that shows that these two tribes have a preponderance of liver cancer, and early detection has helped save lives. So this is what we're trying to do through the libraries, making sure that we have our connectivity, our broadband connections up in those libraries that are going to participate. Coconino County is leading the project with the Tuba City being the first site where we are going to do this, the liver scans. It's going to be done early summer, and right through summer, we will have events in the Navajo Nation as well as in targeting Tohono O'odham tribes in and around Pima County. So more details I will share as we go along, but this is a pilot project with NIH and NAU and U of A. Back to you, Steve.
Okay, thanks, Mala. Erin, do you have anything else that you want to talk about?
Not at this time, thank you.
Okay, and I don't believe Holly is online, and Janet Major has dropped off. And I didn't see Philip Singh today. Philip, are you here? Department of Ed? Okay, guess not. Cindy, do you have anything that you want to report?
Yeah, I'll just say that NTIA has invited Mike Edmonds and myself to help them coordinate two community conversations about digital equity here in Tucson. So we're working on that. It's going to be March 24th, open to the community. One's going to be at Tucson House and one's going to be at We Care, the computer refurbishing operation here in Tucson. So those will be good. I went to a job fair on a summer youth job fair on Saturday and signed up one person for the ACP. Woot! Felt really good. It's a very difficult process. So I was really grateful that I had an opportunity to be there and do that. Let's see, the Arizona Digital Inclusion Network is working on getting our comments ready to give input to the digital equity and BEAD planning processes. We're just pulling our thoughts together and the work that we've been doing over the last year to compile kind of digital inclusion best practices from the people that have been doing the work in the field. So that we're working on that and trying to make a connection with the governor's office and the ACA, the state broadband office. And our effort down in Pima County, which is called Connect Pima, we're working on same kind of thing, trying to collect the information that we've gathered from meeting over the last year to figure out what we want to tell the state about what Pima County needs down here in terms of the federal money that's coming in for the digital equity and BEAD programs. So we're staying real busy.
Okay, thanks, Cindy. So I wanted to circle back for a minute. Unfortunately, Nicole's not here to share this information, but NTIA has published a request for comment. They're looking for input on how NTIA should structure, I'm reading this for you, the 1.44 billion state digital equity capacity grant and the 1.25 billion digital equity competitive grant program. And they're looking for input from people. You can submit a request. I've provided the link both in my email and on the page here, and you can, and I'll actually put it in the chat also, but you can submit your comments. And then when Nicole is available, we can also look at, are there some comments and input we would like to provide as a task force? So comments are due May 1st at 5 o'clock Eastern time. So just keep that in mind and really encourage you all to provide your input. Okay.
Steve, Mark
Yeah,
here.
Mark.
I'm looking for it. I'm going to post an article in the Benton Institution's site that details all the NTIA's different questions, like 25 or 30 questions in coherent groups. So it's a good summary of that if you don't have the patience for the core documents.
Good, thank you, Mark. Okay. Excuse me, a little allergy here. Derek's not here, Rory's not here, and Mylan's not here. So I think we're pretty much done for the day. Anybody have anything that they want to announce, to report?
I have one little just fun thing. I suppose I could have given this as an update, but so this last weekend, the SciTech Institute boothed at the Arizona Renaissance Festival and brought together a bunch of folks in the STEM world and the State Library, as well as the Apache Junction Public Library co-boothed there. And we made a little sign that asked people to shout huzzah for libraries if they love libraries. And I had over 360 huzzahs by the end of the day. So that was kind of a fun way to spend my Saturday.
Yeah.
The other folks that were there included the AP chemistry students from Basha High School that were just like 30 of them, and they were all excited and they were doing science in front of the Renaissance Festival. And then the Natural History Museum in Mesa was there, as well as the Arizona Science Center. So it was a really fun day, and putting libraries out there and putting the work that that we're all doing was a kind of a fun way to spend the day. So you can see pictures. You can see pictures on the Arizona Library's Facebook page.
Okay. Oh, hi, Holly. Didn't see you earlier. Is there anything you want to add?
No, I think Aaron and Mala have it covered, but thank you.
They do a great job.
They do.
Michelle, are you still online?
Yep, I'm still here.
Do you want to say anything more about the workforce event coming up on Thursday?
I'm pretty excited about the event overall. I mean, they're talking about a lot of great stuff, and I will be participating in the panel discussion at the end of the event. Carla Morales asked me to participate in that and really help to kind of align digital inclusion with workforce development and why that's important, workforce and economic development and why that's important. So I'm really excited about that. If anybody can go, please do, because there is, even at lunchtime, going to be a provider resource fair where you know, all of the community members providing that kind of support, organizations providing that kind of support will be handing out information. You know, we'll be handing out information not just from the library, but about Connect Pima as well. So I look forward to that.
Great. Okay, anybody have anything else? Okay, well, I'm going to stop recording, and then if anybody wants to stay in Kibitz, we can do that.